everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Tracy and today I'll show you how I kind of get my tie-dye effect. So in last night's live we made these t-shirts and we made them out of some stuff I had tie-dyed. So I'm going to show you how to do it. First you're going to need this smooth-sided watercolor paper, and then I like to use my gel plate to hold my paper down flat, and I've got some white ink. I've got my Simon Hurley inkers. And you'll see I have them labeled, and I've got a big fat mess over there from a long time ago. Anyway, never mind that. And I've got a watercolor brush and then a couple of other brushes. And I'm going to just saturate my paper and lay it down there. And then I'm going to take my watercolor brush and I'm going to get my paper soaking wet. And I do have this video sped up just because it's a pretty simple process. So I'm going to start with shooting star, and then I'm just going to kind of dot around and make a spiral. Pretty simple, doesn't have to be perfect. I can't spiral tie-dye in real life at all. I'm only one of those people that can make those weird circles. So I've got my yellow, and next I'm going to go in with, clear sky. So I'm going to make a little bit of different colored one, and I'm going to just dab it to the inside of my shooting star. And I am wetting my brush, or trying to remember to wet my brush when I get my ink. The tricky part is not to get too much water, and you can see that in some spots my little tail got wider, and that's okay. This definitely is not a perfection piece. So I'm just going all the way around with the clear skies. Now I'm going to clean my brush, get it wet, and I'm going to go in with Prom Queen to the outside of my yellow. And I'm just kind of splotching it on, as you can see, just little dabbing motions. See there's a couple of places where this one bleeds. And so, you know, I didn't take my time doing this because I just wanted to get this video out here so I could show you how I do it. So I'm just going to go in with this Prom Queen and kind of fill in that space here. See, if your brush is too wet, then you're going to get blobby. So it's a little bit of a delicate mix, but you know, practice, practice, practice. I'm going to come up all the way around in here and just kind of fill in these spaces, fill in any white spaces, and then I'm going to come back to the outside of the yellow, and I'm going to do the Prom Queen again. So, I mean, there we have, you know, pretty good spiral. I do want to fill in the space, though. I'm going to come back in here with the shooting star. So I just used 3 colors on this. You can use as many as you want. You can go light or dark as you want. And let's just fill in right there in that little spot here, back in with the Prom Queen. Okay. Now you saw me filling in the white spaces. Now I've got my smaller brush, and I'm going to grab a paper towel because I want to use a little bit more of a dry application. And I'm going to just go in and dot in with each color and just kind of scrape my brush kind of back and forth. And this is sort of it's not really a flat brush, but you could probably use a flat brush. And I'm no artist, so I wouldn't know the right brush from the wrong brush. But I'm just kind of scraping back and forth, like making little Z's or little lines, basically, with the more intense color. So I had not watered it down. So I've got my shooting star. Now I'm going to come in with my Prom Queen, and you see that I'm making just kind of lines, and then I'm just making the squiggles. So that's going to intensify the color down the center of my, my whatever these are, my swirly lurlies. So again, I'm not wetting my brush at all. I'm just dipping directly into the ink. I don't have any actual real watercolors. I think I have some sparkly ones that I got at Tuesday morning for about maybe $10. But I don't feel the need because I really enjoy actually watercoloring with Simon's inks. I don't recommend trying this with oxides. I did try it. Trust me, I experimented for days trying to get the effect until I finally came up with this. The oxides really don't, you don't get the colors you expect with them, let me just put it that way. Because, you know, once you get an oxide wet, it obviously oxidizes and changes in its intensity. So I'm just going through here and just darkening down basically the centers. And then I'll come around in the middle of this one and spread it around, and I'm really going to push those lines back and forth here. And I'm sorry, my hand's in the way. As you can see, I'm just kind of doing a side-to-side motion once I get my dots down and just spreading those dots back and forth. Now, in some places, you got to be careful doing that because you might get your green, which you never had any green in the first place, but you know what I mean. So now I'm going to go in with the Clear Skies. The other one I did, I used the Shooting Star, I used the No Diving, and I used Bee Sting, so it was a little bit more intensity of kind of rainbow, heavy rainbow color. See here, I'm trying to fix that one spot that bled, but it's not going to fix. If it bleeds, oh well, no big deal. It's not, you know, it's tie-dye. So I'm just coming in here with the blue and doing the exact same thing. And in most places it makes purple, which is fine. Purple is good. We've still got ourselves a rainbow here. Since we are coming up on Pride Month, I can see a lot of use for a lot of rainbows. And you could even, you know, use the lighter colors, you know, in support, or just go hippie 100%. This method I'm doing, you can also do it with just kind of straight lines. Like you could make like heavy stripes and then do the intensified color and spread it out. You could do it with the circly ones if you wanted to, you know, the kind where you, when I was a kid, you just grabbed a piece of your t-shirt and started wrapping rubber bands around. Because the next step that I do is what is going to give it the full tie-dye effect. So once you're happy with that, and I'm just about, there's some spots that I simply can't fix. I'm going to go in and get a little bit more color on this side here, so it's going to go purple and green on me. And most likely I'm only going to use the center portion of this tie-dye piece. Let me get this back down towards the red. So you want to pull it, the color, down into the color you want it to turn into. So that's going to be a purple. This one I'm going to let it be green. All right, I'm going to put away my paints, and then I'm going to get out my little silicone mat, and I'm going to take my painting there off of my jelly plate and see how nice and flat it kept it, and I'm going to go ahead and dry this. Now you want it to be pretty much 100% dry, and so we are spending a little bit of time drying it, but I'm not cutting this part out just because I sped the whole thing up, and doesn't need to be cut out. We'll talk. So yeah, so you can use this for the little t-shirts, or you could cut it out to be birds, or you know, whatever. You cut it up and use it for something else. Use it as a background. Really doesn't matter. It's your art. It's your tie-dye. And once I get it dry, you know, mostly towards dry, I'm going to start to try and shape it, you know, with my hand so it'll flatten out kind of to do the next step. Okay, and for the next step, I'm going to get my paper towel, make sure my brush is clean. And what I have here is this Daler Rowney Aquafine. I think it's China White or something like that. It's just a white ink. I'm just going to put a little bit down on my mat. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take, and from the center, I'm just going to kind of draw lines. Now you can do these lines around the circles too if you wanted to. I'm not going to. And we are going to water down these lines. You'll see that's going to give it that full-on kind of tie-dye effect, which is super cool. So I'm not looking to get them straight or perfect. I just want them all the way around. And I'm going to try and get some more towards the center there. And that part's done. Now I'm going to take my same brush And I'm just going to water those down and spread them out. So it gives it a really cool watery effect, and you just want to use enough water that it, you know, kind of bleeds that ink out and just kind of leaves a very fine white line. And then you'll see the water on the watercolor paper kind of spreads and reacts with Simon's inks really beautifully. And now you see the sort of tie-dye look is coming together. If you need more water, get more water. If you get too much, just try and spread it downwards. You don't want to blob it out too much. And you can see as it's starting to dry, it's kind of making squigglies going the opposite direction there in your swirly tie-dye. Okay, get a little too much, just wipe it off with your brush and carry on. Yep, almost done. So, I mean, it's not so bad, but it took me a long time to do the first one because I took my time in getting my colors down. So if you want it to be, you know, a little bit less blobby, take your time. This is just for demonstration purposes, so you kind of have a direction to go. Do what you have, use what you have, do what you want, see what you come up with. I mean, it's paper, right? And this one is not, I kind of reserve my Tim Holtz watercolor paper for different kinds of projects. So this is just, you know, an El Cheapo brand here. I think I got it at Walmart. Go in and just get these lines a little bit more watered down here. Here comes the last one. And we're going groovy, man. Groovy retro. One of the t-shirts we did last night, I put a skull on it, so we had full-on deadhead mode. Now you can go in, I'm going to dry this off, and you can go in, like I said, and you can go around the circles. You can do just more water lines if you want to. Do what you know, do you. You do you. It'll be fun. And I'm going to just straighten it out so it's ready to rock and roll. And there we go. We've got our tie-dyed little swirly. So you see here I can just make a couple of water squigglies and then lift. And it won't be as intense as the white ones. But I'm not, just showing you that you can. Then we would take our little t-shirt and cut it out, or whatever we're cutting out. Turns out pretty cool. So if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, and thanks for watching. Have a great day.